Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What do you think of a rematch, Amir Khan versus Danny Garcia? Is that a good fight?
I think Khan wins that fight in a rematch because he was really he was touching him a lot in that fight. He got a little greedy, like you said, but Garcia hasn't changed. Khan has. And Khan's changed for the better. So I think he wins that fight if they fought again.
And then just your thoughts again, Porter versus Thurman. If they rematch, let's say they rematch next.
I think Porter is improved, and I think that he won the first fight. In my book, I think he won by at least by maybe a couple rounds. And I don't think it was like a robbery or anything. I just thought he won. So if he fights him now, I think he is improved, and I think that he'll win by like a little more clearly, and he'll get the decision the second time.
Now, what about Adrien Broner? He said he's going up to welterweight. Is there any fight that you want to see him in? Or do you think he's not a true welterweight? I
don't think he's a true welterweight. I'd like to see him fight like, who do I want to see him fight at like 140? I forget about like 140-pound fight. Like it's hard because 140 is not stacked like 147, but honestly I think that he gets beat by a lot of the 147-pounders because he's too small. You know, like, but Tim Bradley's a good fight for him. Because Tim Bradley's
that's a real good, and they're going at it.
Because Tim Bradley's not that powerful. That's what I'm, referring to is that Tim Bradley doesn't have that much power. Like he'll muscle you, but he's kind of short. Like they could head on and have a great fight. So that's the one that I want to see him fight.
That's a good fight. When I heard
about that, I was like, that's like a match made for Broner and it's just
that's a real good fight. Yeah.
And whoever wins comes and it puts them in a good situation. You know. So.
Who would you favor in that at 147?
Crazy that Bradley called that a tune-up fight. I was like, that's disrespectful.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that. I don't know. I don't think it's a tune-up.
Oh goodness!
I mean, you got to give. I give Broner credit because he fought Chino Maidana at 147. That was his second fight.
What are you gonna
and
say
he didn't
about
get
Broner,
knocked out. You know what I mean? He didn't get knocked.
To be honest, he fought the strongest welterweight. He was coming up. The thing is, he shouldn't have came up that fast. But they were looking for the money right away. And they knew that welterweight was hot, just like it is now. So they went up, and honestly, give him credit. He said, fans, pick the fight. And then he actually did it. And then everybody said Maidana, and he fought him, and then was cocky and confident. I think he just got a little big for his britches. He fought, I think he literally thought he was invincible. He fought the fight that the fans picked for him and fought like an animal that whole fight. You know what I mean? He got beat, but he fought like an animal.
He actually hurt Maidana late in the fight. If you watch that again.
Absolutely.
So he showed mad heart.
I think that they put some smelling salts in Maidana. That's just a different.
Oh, I seen that clip that you're talking about.
That over and over again, and
yeah,
we had a gym discussion about it, and
he looked like you.
Verge was explaining. What fighters look like when they get the smelling salts, like what you notice, and they say it just hits you. Like, you're like, whoa, like, what is going on? And so then I was like, huh, like, I hadn't even seen the clip yet, but I remembered hearing some things about it. So I looked up the clip, showed everybody, and Maidana didn't know it was coming, and Alex Ariza sticks something in his, you could see him wrap something up, sticks something in his face, and Maidana was just like, what the heck is that?
Like
you could tell that really, like, he freaked out. Like, he was like, what'd you just put in my face? He, like, slapped his arm away. So, like, you could tell that something strong hit his nose. You know, it wasn't, he said he was wiping his nose or something. He said it made an excuse, Alex Ariza did. But it didn't look like he was wiping his nose because he was shocked by it. You know, he was he was like, oh my goodness, what? You know, and then he came out in that last round because it was after he got hurt. So I think that too. I mean, I think that Broner, like, can't really take any credit from him in that fight because, I mean, you lose, the boxing, you can lose fights. You know what I mean? And he fought a top fighter, one that gave Floyd a run for his money, and one that is going to give anybody a run for his money. I wish Maidana was in this situation.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my goodness! I wish.
I'm a big Chino fan, so yeah, that would be awesome.
He's the man, and I wish he was in this situation. So you can't really fault Broner for that. Like, he lost that fight, everyone acting like he was just he like
wrote him off.
Wrote him off. Now the Sean Porter fight's a different story. You know, he basically did nothing that whole fight, and that's different because it's like, I think that made me think, all right, he's maybe too small for welterweight, and maybe he's not taking things as serious. And I think that he wasn't taking things serious before the Maidana fight, but take him not taking it serious in the Maidana fight, still fighting that well, You know what I mean? I think that there was something wrong in the Shawn Porter fight. That's a little different. Like, you can actually be like, well, you should have done better in that fight. But the Maidana fight, I give him credit for that. Like,
but even in the Shawn Porter fight, I was just thinking about this. It blew my mind that Shawn Porter is not. He's been in there with, at this point, Berto, a strong welterweight,
exactly.
Kell Brook, a strong welterweight, and Broner.
You can't.
And Broner actually
doubt
got
his
it.
Power. Like, he's got some power, and he can hit you at any time, and that's why it's so disappointing. Like, there were some things that he could have done different in the Shawn Porter fight, and I think that it was so disappointing because I was like, man, I think he could have won that fight. And it was like, I wanted Shawn to win that fight. So it wasn't disappointing as far as the fact, like, oh, I wish Broner beat him. But it's frustrating when you see someone and you're like, I think that they could have, I don't think they lived up to their potential in the fight. You know, that's when you're like, oh, I wish he would have done this. Even if the guy you wanted to win won. I think that Broner could have used some more movement. Like, as far as, like, he's got fast hands, fast feet. Used like used more straight right hands, jabs to the body, just done some different things, but it seemed like he was retreating too much. That hook was there all night that he landed in.
The check hook, yeah, that was.
He jumped in with it. He feinted and jumped in with it, and then, like, after that, after he hit him and knocked him down with that, he tried to do the same thing, like, over and over again, trying to, like, that worked, but now I'm gonna do it again because it worked the first time, but. Your boxing IQ has to be higher than that because you know
he's expecting
you got to know that once you hurt someone with something, you got to do something different and then maybe come back to it later in the round. But they're probably going to be, it's not going to work twice right in a row, you know, especially when you just drop them, because all that guy's thinking about is what he just got hit with. Like, okay, I can't get hit with that again. So you got to do something different. If anything, what I would do is then you feint that shot and throw a right hand. You know what I mean? Like, do different things.
Trick
switch
him.
it up. You know what I mean? Trick them. And when someone's mind's not all the way there because they just got hurt, they're going to react even more.
And bite on it, yeah.
Right. So there was a couple things I was like, man, as much as Broner, he sets the, like, in his camps, he sets the bar so high, like the expectation so high because he talks so much trash and stuff like that. So part of you is always like, man, I want him to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I want him to, I want to see him win a big fight just because. Like, I root for fighters, you know, all fighters, you know what I mean? Like, a fighter who's had a bad rap, you know, Broner's had some problems. I want to see him eventually reach his potential because, you know, he's got so much. I want to see him reach that, you know. I want to see him win a big fight, win a real title, you know, like a
meaningful
lineal title. And, like, I want to see him do things like that, just like a lot of fighters who, you know, who haven't yet, so.
Broner, Terence Crawford.
Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford's. I mean, it's a good fight, but Terence Crawford's just the man right now. Like,
why is he the man?
He's just he's gifted and he's on a roll. So he's like, right now he's just in the zone. It's hard to get a fighter out of the zone when he's in it. He's got so much momentum, and he's gonna. When he moves up to 47, they've got a problem. Everybody's got a problem. When he moves up to 47, he's gonna show everybody that he's probably the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world after Ward. He's fantastic. Like,
that's funny. He actually did his own pound-for-pound list. He said he's #2, and he said Andre Ward's #1.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's fair. You can't. People forget about him. His own network, you know, forgets about him a lot of the time. It's like, it's hard, and I don't understand how they do. How do they forget about him? You know, like, he's a force to be reckoned with right now. He's incredible. I really, really like watching him fight.
Definitely. Final question. It wouldn't be right if I did it. Andre Ward, Kovalev 2. What's the difference in this fight?
We talked about this. I think that Ward is really going to whoop him this fight. Like, I think he's really going to...
You think he found something in the second half of the...
I think he's just going to... He got dropped in the early rounds because he didn't. I don't think he knew what kind of power he really had. He didn't respect his power as much, so he just went out there like, I'll show the world he can't hurt me. You know, he knocked him down. He had an uphill battle, and he didn't get knocked out again, knocked down again. So all he's got to do now is go in there and not get dropped. So he goes in there, doesn't get dropped, waits for Kovalev to get tired like he always does. He'll probably get tired faster this fight because he's all upset. Then he doesn't get knocked down, even if he loses a couple rounds at the beginning, just from inactivity. This is what I suspect that he'll do. goes in there, just uses defense. He won't be able to touch him. Then down the road, Kovalev gets tired just like he always does, and he does the same thing he did last fight and beats him. You know, without that knockdown, nobody'd be saying anything. That's the thing about it. Without that knockdown, nobody'd be saying anything.
Yeah, I mean, I was at the fight, you were at the fight. I mean, the whole robbery conversation doesn't even make sense. It was a close fight, competitive fight, but
even people who wanted Kovalev to win around my section at the fight, after the fight was over, they said, like, everybody's consensus, which was weird because then, but you see, like, the people in the upper stands and, like, the people who maybe couldn't, they were saying that they were booing and stuff like that.
Robbery.
But what I was surprised by it because my section, as far as where I was sitting, everybody said, no matter if they were a Ward fan or a Kovalev fan, said either he won or it was a draw. Either Ward won or it was a draw. That was just what everybody firsthand in my section was saying. So, and that's what I agreed with. So then I didn't even realize everyone was talking about robbery until I got home. I started looking. I was like, what? Like, wow. Like, I knew at the fight there was going to be Kovalev fans that booed. So when I heard the booing, I didn't necessarily think there was going to be some uproar of robbery, you didn't win, you know what I mean? But then but that's the thing, it's just bandwagon. So, like, one person probably said that on Twitter, and then everybody and their brother is saying that he lost because people like to just say what they hear, you know? They don't really have their own opinion, so I think that's kind of what happened. It just spreads, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Are you going to that fight?
Yeah, I'll be there. Yep. I'll be there. I'm looking forward to that one. That one's the one that probably looking forward to more than any of them. It's the second Kovalev fight. And
you touched on this again in case they missed your first video. You said Kovalev going into this new fight, this rematch fight, when they've already seen what each other brought for 12 rounds, you said that anger and that type of energy is not a good thing. As a fighter, from the mind of a fighter, why is that not a good thing?
Because you're just playing into everything that Ward wants you to do. You're just getting mad and getting upset, and he's going to load up. So you already couldn't knock him out the first fight when you were relaxed and confident and you were supposed to win and you thought you were going to win. But now you're going to come in pissed off and go in there trying to knock him out harder. You know, like, that doesn't work. You're going to load up, you're going to throw shots, and he's going to make you miss. And then it's going to, and missing makes you tired. So, and being mad makes you tired. Emotion makes you tired. So that's what I think is going to happen.
Mayweather-McGregor, if that happens.
Mayweather wins a unanimous decision, I think.
Conor has what type of shot?
He has a shot because he has a shot.
Like, what percentage?
He's got like a 10% chance.
10.
Because he's unorthodox, you know, as far as some unorthodox people. It's hard to hit them because they got weird defense. They're squirrely. I saw the video McGregor spot, and he like pulled all the way back with his hands down. It's hard to hit people when Floyd's been boxing pure.
Like textbook fighters, yeah.
For his whole life, he's gonna get in there with an MMA fighter. Advice Conor McGregor needs to be not to fight like try to like do an 8-week boxing school and try to be perfect. He needs to be a UFC fighter who can't use his feet or his elbow. He needs to be a UFC fighter who's boxing in boxing rules and just be as unorthodox as possible, mess with Floyd's head, and be weird. People don't understand that that's like, seriously,
you know,
I might go put that chance of him beating Floyd up because if anybody has a chance of beating Floyd, if anybody has a chance, he does, because it's different. Floyd's going to keep beating everybody. That's the most interesting thing that he can come out for, because he's just going to beat everybody. There's no one in boxing who can beat him. So why not bring a fighter who isn't a boxer in and see if he can shock the world? You know what I mean? That's why it's so interesting. That's why Floyd's such a genius for even bringing that up, making that happen. If that happens, it's going to be wild.
It's funny because I thought about that with Floyd Canelo. I thought Canelo did the kind of a similar thing where he didn't use his youth, size, and weight. He was trying to outbox the boxer. So yeah, Conor McGregor, you're not going to outbox the boxer.
Be yourself. Don't be a boxer. Canelo kind of did that. He's the big size, so
use
your advantages.
And I think that's why Maidana had more success with Floyd in the first fight than Canelo, because he's chopping shots and rough, and he didn't really show respect.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, where can the fans follow you?
At Joey D. Spencer on Instagram.
All right, look forward to hearing more of your thoughts.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.